an employer, which of these women would you hire? What if these women were equally qualified to perform the duties required for the job? Would it matter then? Studies show which one you'd be more likely to hire and why. And with obesity rates on the rise in the U.S., the issue of weight-based workplace discrimination is becoming more important to many people. And while we examine this problem, we must also take into consideration whether this kind of discrimination deserves protection. Whether it is from local, state, or federal levels, it is clear that something must be done. Like other forms of discrimination, we must acknowledge that it does happen and consider what can be done to prevent this damaging behavior. According to researchers from the Red Center for Food Policy and Obesity at Yale University, women with a body mass index of 35 or more are the most vulnerable group of people for weight-based workplace discrimination. Women report size discrimination 3 to 1 when compared to men. This study also found that as a person's body weight increases, the more likely they are to be subjected to discrimination in the workplace. In an article for Forbes.com, Allison Van Dusen cites a study that shows weight-based workplace discrimination happens at every level of the obese person's career, from the hiring process to the wages to the promotions and so on. This study also found that obese women make 6% less than their thinner coworkers. In an article, this one for Newsweek magazine, entitled "Thinner Paychecks for Obese Women," author Peter Coy cites a research study performed by John Cawley. Cawley is with the University of Michigan School of Public Health, and he found that white women who are at least 65 pounds overweight earn an average of 7% less than women who are not overweight. This kind of discrimination in the workplace might suggest that it is justified. Is an overweight worker less productive, therefore paid less wages? Not according to recent studies performed by Mark Rolling, a Human Resources Management Associate Professor for Michigan State University. Rolling found that the overweight worker is no less productive than a normal-sized worker. While stereotypes of the obese suggest that they may be lazy, unstable, and undisciplined, this study provides evidence to the contrary. While these studies conclude that weight-based discrimination in the workplace does exist, the question is what can be done to prevent this from happening. Should obese people be afforded the same protection that we give to the disabled or ethnic and religious groups? Elizabeth Kristen, a California lawyer, has written a comprehensive paper on this subject entitled "Addressing the Problems of Weight Discrimination in the Workplace." And she examines why there should be laws protecting the obese. She also analyzes the possibilities that obese people could achieve some protection through different laws. Right now, Michigan is the only state in the union that has enacted a law for protecting the obese from discrimination, both in and out of the workplace. New York and Texas have considered similar laws, although they have yet to pass anything at the state level. City ordinances are another way of gaining protection for the obese. San Francisco has the most notable city law in place for discrimination against the obese. Kristen maintains that while federal and disability laws could provide limited protection, she suggests the best place to start should be the local and state levels. While this type of discrimination may not directly affect you, it does, however, have an effect on many around you, and therefore should not be ignored. We must recognize that this inequality has an effect on many workers every day. People who work hard to be productive, contributing members of our society, yet are blamed and punished for their fatness. Protection from discrimination should not only be for a few groups, it should be for all groups experiencing discrimination. We must examine and put in place protection that will provide relief that is needed to make sure equal opportunity exists for all and not just for a few. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Why does it seem to be okay to treat fat people as an inferior group?
As author Lucy Wang explains in her article, Weight Discrimination, One Size Fits All Remedy, that unlike racial and gender discrimination where a trait is passive, this form of discrimination is based upon the perception that a person chooses to be fat. It is also looked at differently because a fat person is blamed for their size. Any others?
Why isn't obesity protected under the Americans with Disability Act?
Some people have sued under the ADA and have been victorious. However, obesity is not specifically protected under any federal law at this time. Jennifer Stamen wrote an article, Obesity Discrimination and the Americans with Disabilities Act. According to her, there is limited protection for the obese, stating except in rare circumstances, obesity is not considered a disabling impairment. Thank you.